find an ECOWAS-wide solution to an issue which goes beyond the boundaries of our country and is affecting the entire West African region. Mr. Speaker, we shall not allow miscreants of any sort to terrorize our population. And I promise that there will be no hiding place for criminals. I'm certain that the interventions we're introducing will boost morale in the service, and I urge the House and all citizens to support the police to deliver the service we deserve. The formidable Minister for the Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, MP for Nando, needs our effective cooperation to carry out his all-important functions. Mr. Speaker, in much the same way, we're beginning to address the problems of our armed forces. I'm happy to report that work has started on the barracks regeneration program. The acute accommodation problems that face our armed forces must be and are now being tackled by that energetic Minister for Defense, the Honorable Dominic Nituo, MP for Dundela. We know that it is in all our interests that those charged with ensuring our security, who put their lives on the line for our safety, are able to concentrate on their jobs without distractions like inadequate and inappropriate housing. It is vital that all of us give maximum support to the noble, brave men and women of our security services involved in Operation Calm Life, Operation Vanguard, and Operation Cowleg, aid at guaranteeing the safety of our people, the integrity of our environment, and the peace of our nation. The housing deficit is not limited to our security services. It is a nationwide problem that is caused mostly by the intolerable pressure on land prices. This has put affordable housing out of the reach of most people. We have begun the difficult process of making housing affordable for Ghanaians. Ghana government last year abolished the 5% VAT NHIL on real estate sales and continues to create a conducive environment that is reducing interest rates on mortgage loans. Discussions are also ongoing between the Pensions Regulatory Authority and the banks to underwrite an effective mortgage system. This will facilitate access to housing for the ordinary budget. Government will also continue to create the enabling environment that will promote private sector investment in cheaper housing for the people. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure no one needs reminding in this House that I've signed into law the Office of Special Prosecutor Act. An essential step in our overall strategy to combat corruption. I look forward to the House dealing speedily with the process of confirmation of the nominee, a person of proven professional ability with an established record of integrity and independence of character. Here again, we are in uncharted waters, but I'm convinced that there is enough goodwill in the country to propel the first occupant of this position into setting a good and firm foundation for the position of the Special Prosecutor. Mr. Speaker, year in, year out, the nation's Auditor General produces a report on our public finances. It is often full of grand cases of corruption in our public services. The Auditor General report on MDA liabilities as of 31st December 2016 makes truly alarming reading. I make reference to the fact that a staggering amount of 5.4 billion cedis has been identified as constituting fictitious claims. In the course of this address, Mr. Speaker, the House has heard me struggle to identify a source of funding to build our roads. Every day we hear reports on our radios and televisions of dilapidated classrooms and children who sit on floors at school. Just think of the difference the 5.4 billion cedis would make to the nation's finances. That would certainly be enough to build and furnish hundreds of classrooms and construct the Eastern Corridor roads. Every citizen is affected by acts of corruption, and we should all work to tackle them. Government has an obligation to treat the Auditor General's report seriously and to work to retrieve illegally acquired monies from those who would impoverish us all. The role of Occupy Ghana in increasing awareness of the importance of the work of the Auditor General should be recognized. Mr. Speaker, the preamble to the Constitution of the Republic enjoins each one of us to uphold the principles of freedom and justice, probity and accountability. In furtherance of these principles, I have made it publicly known that anyone who has information about acts of corruption by any of my appointees should bring it forward and should be prepared to have it investigated. It should be prepared to back it with evidence, for I will have it investigated. I will have it investigated. So far, every single alleged act of corruption leveled against any of my appointees has been investigated by independent bodies, and in some cases by Parliament itself, and the findings made public. From the allegations against the Minister Designate for Energy at his parliamentary confirmation hearings, to that against the CEO of BOSS, to those against the two Deputy Chiefs of Staff, to the conflict of interest allegations against the Minister for Finance, and most recently to the claims of extortion against the Trade and Industry Minister, they have all been investigated, and no evidence has been adduced to suggest any act of corruption, conflict of interest, or wrongdoing.
Honorable members,
it appears, however, Mr. Speaker, that some are determined to stick to their politically motivated view that there has been corruption. This surely is not helpful. It is important to note that in my first year of office, despite having a clear parliamentary majority, two separate bipartisan probes in Parliament have been established to inquire into allegations of corruption, as against zero in recent years, notwithstanding the persistent calls by the then minority over several allegations. Mr. Speaker, with the greatest of respect, and in the words of the articulate Minister for Information, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, no matter how long a log stays underwater, it will never become a crocodile. Speaker, let me repeat it for the benefit of my friends in the minority. No matter how long a log stays underwater, it will never become a crocodile.
Order.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable members,
there was great relief around the country when the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea found in our favor in the maritime boundary dispute with Côte d'Ivoire. a dispute which was litigated by successive governments in the national interest, the last lap being won by the able Attorney General Gloria Akufo. In our celebrations, we did not forget that good neighborliness is the hallmark of our foreign policy. And I'm glad to state that our good relations with Côte d'Ivoire have not been affected in any way by the resolution of the dispute. Indeed, Côte d'Ivoire's renowned president, His Excellency Monsieur Alassane Ouattara, at my invitation, paid us a memorable official visit after the ruling to underline his country's determination to maintain, if not deepen, its good relations with our own. In fact, as you may remember, he and I signed on that occasion l'accord stratégique de partenariat, a strategic partnership agreement for those who find French difficult, to emphasize the enhanced relationship we both seek for our two neighboring countries. Another obvious immediate benefit from the sensible reaction of both sides to the outcome of the dispute is the subsequent agreement by ExxonMobil, the world's largest publicly traded oil and gas company, to explore and develop with us potentially all rich oil blocks that were affected by the area in dispute. Mr. Speaker, much as we all recognize the importance of exploiting the offshore hydrocarbon resources of our nation, I think it equally critical for us not